When her lips touched mine, the outside world faded away, leaving only us in that suspended moment. The coldness of the air, the silence of the forest, and the silhouette of the deer all disappeared, leaving only whispers in the distance. Her kiss began with gentle uncertainty, as if she were gauging my reaction, ready to push me away, but I remained still, unable to resist. Welcome to Bad Boys Channel, where we reveal true adultery stories with unexpected developments. If you find the video interesting, consider subscribing and liking it. Your support really aids the growth of our channel. Now let's embark on the journey into the story. Once upon a time, there was a man named Mark. He saw himself as a humble soul, deeply rooted in the love for his family, the diligence of his work, and the cherished traditions that filled his life with purpose. Yet everything transformed during a weekend that would forever linger in memory. It began as a simple adventure, a typical hunting excursion with a stranger, a small favor for my wife. Yet what transpired in the woods pushed me to my limits, broke down the barriers I once thought unbreakable, and compelled me to face yearnings I never knew existed within me. I share this not to invite judgment, but because this tale continues to linger in my mind, and its conclusion remains elusive. As the calendar turns to November, the first weekend brings with it a cherished tradition, the beginning of deer hunting season, a time I eagerly anticipate each year. It transcends mere pastime. It's a cherished tradition, a pathway to break free from the monotony of everyday life and rediscover the beauty of the natural world. Typically, my beloved Grace accompanies me to our secluded hunting cabin, a refuge tucked away in 20,000 acres of pristine Missouri wilderness. For more than 10 years, we've transformed that land into our own slice of heaven, crafting trails, establishing food plots, and fine-tuning the cabin. But this year, the winds of change whispered a different tale. Not long ago, during a cozy dinner, Grace shared her decision not to accompany me this time around. She found herself chosen to partake in an esteemed gathering of minds focused on educational reform at the state capitol. Though I felt a swell of pride for her achievement, the idea of celebrating my birthday and the hunting opener in solitude was far from exciting. Typically, I would have been fine with it, but my wife had been unwavering, truly determined that I should not venture out there by myself, especially after the heart scare I experienced earlier this year. It was Sophie who held the key to the answer. Sophie was a colleague of Grace's, a young woman I had crossed paths with on a few occasions during school events. She radiated joy, her laughter dancing in the air, and she seemed to carry the lightness of youth in her spirit, much younger than I. Recently divorced, Sophie was charting her course through life with a spark of optimism that masked the deeper pain I sensed she was holding within. Grace had woven a plan for Sophie to accompany me on her inaugural hunting adventure, believing it would be a beneficial experience for us both. In this journey, I would not walk alone, and Sophie would have the opportunity to discover something fresh and exciting. To claim I was doubtful would hardly capture the essence of my feelings. Anticipation filled my heart as I envisioned the peaceful solitude, the serene mornings spent in the blind, and the tranquil evenings by the fire, accompanied only by my own reflections. It wasn't part of the grand design to have a companion, particularly one who couldn't tell a rifle from a fishing rod. As Friday evening descended upon us, I eased my way into Sophie's driveway, the anticipation of the night ahead bubbling within me. Grace had woven a tale of urgency, urging me to sound the horn. Normally, I would deem such an act impolite, yet I found myself swept up in her narrative and complied. As the front door swung open, Sophie stepped out, illuminated by the warm glow cascading from within the house. With enough gear to equip a small army, she wore a cheerful smile that illuminated the evening. "Hi, Mark," she called, her voice sparkling with enthusiasm. As I stepped out of the truck, I moved to assist her in loading her belongings. "What a remarkable arrangement," I remarked, gesturing toward the impressive stack of bags. She let out a joyful laugh. "Grace urged me to arrive ready for anything. Perhaps I have gone a bit too far." She filled the entire drive to the cabin with her lively chatter, weaving tales about her work, her divorce, and a tapestry of random anecdotes from her life. The unexpected noise was a sharp departure from the silence I had anticipated, yet I found myself quite enjoying it. Her vibrant spirit was like a spark, igniting a smile on my face, even though I had hesitated at first. As we pulled up to the cabin around 9 p.m., the moonlight spilled softly over the landscape. I wasted no time in flicking on the power and warming up the space while Sophie gracefully ascended to the loft above. As the fire crackled in the wood stove, the cabin transformed into a cozy haven, radiating warmth and charm. As I nestled into the cozy embrace of the great room, I flicked on an old war movie, seeking a moment of tranquility. Yet just as I was starting to relax, Sophie's voice echoed down from the loft. "May I take a moment to enjoy the shower?" she inquired. "Of course," I said, my eyes still fixed on the screen, hardly breaking my focus. Moments later, the soft creak of the spiral staircase reached my ears. My gaze was drawn to Sophie as she strolled past, draped in nothing but a delicate towel. It scarcely draped over her, shifting with each movement she made. My gaze held a moment too long, a silent battle waged within me before I finally turned my eyes elsewhere. The promise of an intriguing weekend lay ahead. In the cozy confines of the great room, my attention wavered from the war movie flickering on the small TV as the vivid memory of Sophie gracefully descending the stairs in that tiny towel danced in my mind. The dim cabin light danced upon her damp hair, illuminating her bare shoulders with a soft, radiant glow. It was a picture I had no right to keep, yet it remained with me. I chided myself, shaking my head as if to dispel the swirling thoughts within. Sophie, a trusted colleague and a dear friend of Grace, was set to embark on a journey that would unveil the art of hunting, a simple yet profound experience. Nothing beyond that. The gentle cascade of the shower filled the air, accompanied by the sweet melody of Sophie's soft humming. It held a certain innocence, a cheerful quality that danced in the air, yet it pulled at a hidden part of me that I wished to keep buried. With bated breath, I leaned forward in my chair, eager to immerse myself in the unfolding drama of the climactic battle scene on the screen. Yet, my thoughts began to drift. Sophie's voice floated through the thin walls just beyond the bathroom door. As I felt the weight in my chest, I tightened my fists, summoning all my strength to push away the encroaching thoughts. At long last, the relentless flow of water came to a halt. The gentle hum faded away, giving way to the delicate whisper of a towel being handled, accompanied by the subtle creaking of the floorboards as Sophie navigated the bathroom. I remained transfixed by the flickering screen, battling the urge to conjure an image of her standing just beyond that threshold. As the credits rolled, I reached for the remote, weaving through the channels in pursuit of a diversion. As Sophie stepped out, her hair clung to her shoulders, swathed in a second towel, droplets glistening like tiny jewels. She appeared revitalized, her cheeks radiating warmth from the embrace of the shower. With a radiant smile, she made her way down the staircase, clad in navy blue shorts and a cropped white top that hinted at more than it revealed. As she moved, the shirt danced upward just a touch, offering a glimpse of her sculpted stomach. "Are you ready for the adventure that awaits us tomorrow?" I inquired, striving to maintain a relaxed demeanor. "Indeed," she exclaimed with a bright smile, lifting an empty peanut butter jar high. "This is something I'll hold on to for the future." I arched an eyebrow, a swirl of confusion dancing in my mind, yet I chose to keep my questions at bay. With a soft thud, she settled onto the sofa beside me, placing the jar gently on the coffee table. The delicate aroma of her shampoo drifted through the air, a harmonious blend of floral notes and sweetness. I shifted uneasily, acutely aware of the cramped distance that separated us. "I appreciate you letting me join you this weekend," she said, turning to meet my gaze. Her eyes shimmered with a heartfelt glow, radiating warmth and sincerity. Grace spun quite the tale about this hunting experience, and I can't wait to dive into the adventure she described. With a nod, I responded, a smile stretching across my face, though it felt a bit strained. What a splendid place it is. A serene haven, teeming with the wonders of wildlife all around. Prepare to be captivated. As she reclined, folding her legs beneath her, my gaze was irresistibly drawn to the graceful curve of her thighs. I averted my gaze in a flash, berating myself quietly within. The challenge ahead loomed larger than I had anticipated. For the next hour, we spun tales about the fundamentals of hunting. I guided her through the morning's plan, detailing the gear she would require and sharing the importance of maintaining patience in the blind. She absorbed every word, her head nodding in understanding as she posed insightful questions. Yet, from time to time, her eyes would rest upon me, a gentle smile playing at the corners of her lips, leaving me in a delightful state of wonder. It danced on the edge of something more, a delicate balance between camaraderie and unspoken intrigue. As the fire danced in the wood stove, Sophie stretched, her arms arching gracefully over her head. As she moved, her top slipped higher, unveiling the slightest hint of her lower back. I took a deep breath, striving to maintain my attention on the dialogue, yet my determination was beginning to falter. At last, she rose to her feet, grasping the jar and making her way toward the loft. "Well, I'm going to call it a night," she declared, halting at the foot of the stairs. "Thank you once more, Mark. This weekend has unfolded beautifully so far." As the night settled in, I whispered my farewell, my gaze following her graceful ascent up the spiral staircase. As I watched her, my eyes traced her figure until she vanished into the loft, the echo of her footsteps gradually dwindling into silence. Once more, I found myself alone, sinking into the couch as I exhaled deeply, the weight in my chest stubbornly lingering. A sense of foreboding washed over me, hinting that this weekend was poised to unravel into a tapestry of unexpected complexities beyond my imagination. The following morning, I was stirred from my slumber by the incessant buzzing of my alarm clock. The night lingered, shrouding the cabin in a chill that caught me off guard. As I emerged from the warmth of my bed, a gentle shiver coursed through me, my feet meeting the cool embrace of the hardwood floor. The remnants of a restless night lingered in my mind, casting a haze over my thoughts. Visions of Sophie gliding down the stairs last night, her spirit unburdened, her radiant smile, they danced in my mind, refusing to fade away. With a gentle shake of my head, I reminded myself to concentrate. Today unfolded as a quest for the hunt, nothing else to speak of. With haste, I slipped into my lightweight thermal gear, then donned my familiar camouflage hunting attire. As I emerged from my room, the delicate aroma of coffee wafting from the kitchen welcomed me like an old friend. Sophie seemed to be awake, or at least that's what I believed. I raised my voice to the loft, seeking confirmation. "Sophie, it's time to rise and shine," I called out, my voice slicing through the tranquil morning air. Moments later, her response emerged, laced with the remnants of sleep. "All right, just a moment, please." As I immersed myself in the morning ritual, the delightful aroma of bacon and eggs danced through the air, sizzling joyfully in the pan. Though my culinary skills were modest, I had honed a handful of uncomplicated dishes throughout the years. As the aroma of delicious food wafted through the cabin, I could hear her footsteps echoing softly on the spiral staircase. As I turned to welcome her, a gasp lodged itself in my throat. Sophie glided down the stairs, unadorned and at ease, her movements slow and unhurried, as if she were simply embracing the essence of life itself. Her damp hair danced around her face, while her skin radiated in the gentle light streaming through the cabin's windows. I averted my gaze, a warm rush of embarrassment creeping across my cheeks. "Good morning," she said, her voice dancing through the air as if the world around her was perfectly in tune. As the sun began to rise, I whispered a soft greeting, my gaze fixed on the sizzling bacon before me. "It seems the chill in the air is quite nippy. Perhaps you should consider wrapping up a bit warmer before stepping out." She let out a gentle laugh, its melody playful and inviting. "Oh, come now, Mark, there's no need to be so bashful. It's merely skin we're talking about." With the spatula gripped tightly in my hand, I found myself at a loss for words, caught in a moment of uncertainty. My heart raced as she glided by, reaching for a jar of peanut butter nestled in the fridge. She leaned slightly over the counter, her back turned to me, utterly unfazed by her state of undress. Though I endeavored to focus my gaze on the stove, the allure of a fleeting glance proved to be utterly irresistible. "Honestly," I said, striving to maintain my composure, "we're about to embark on our journey, but beware, the chill awaits you outside." With a gentle sigh, she pivoted and began her ascent back to the upper floor. With a playful smile cast back at me, she relented. All right, I'll get dressed. Fear not, for I shall be prepared." With a sigh I didn't know I was keeping inside, I shook my head, my attention turning to the art of plating the food. When she descended once more, she was clad in her hunting attire, exuding an air of confidence as if the earlier events had faded into mere memory. With a gleam in her eye, she picked up her plate and made her way to the table, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm as she shared her plans for the day ahead. Yet the air between us crackled with an unmistakable tension, or so it seemed to me. Each laugh, each smile she bestowed upon me felt like it held a hidden depth, a whisper of something unexpressed. It was hard to tell whether she was putting me to the test or if this was simply her nature, so free-spirited and unrestrained. In any case, it was growing increasingly difficult to overlook. Once the morning meal was finished, we packed our gear onto the ATV, ready for adventure. With a gentle grace, Sophie ascended to the seat behind me, her arms encircling my waist as the engine roared to life beneath us. The crisp, morning air nipped at my cheeks, yet the comforting warmth of her presence enveloped me from behind, a sensation I couldn't ignore. With a firm grip, she held on as we raced through the shadowy woods, the ATV slicing through the night. As we arrived at the hunting spot, I assisted her in dismounting the ATV and passed her the rifle with care. "From this point, we shall proceed," I murmured, my tone softer than normal. With a nod, her excitement shone through, illuminating the moment. "Guide us on this journey." As we journeyed through the woods toward the blind, the stillness of the forest echoed the quietude that enveloped us. A nagging sensation lingered within me, whispering that I was inching perilously near to a boundary I had no right to approach. Yet the way Sophie cast a fleeting glance my way when she believed I was oblivious, the subtle arch of her lips when a smile graced her face, it felt as though she was fully aware of the effect she had. And in that moment, I sensed that this hunting trip held a deeper significance beyond merely pursuing deer. The forest lay in a serene hush, a tranquility that only the dawn could weave into the fabric of the day. Sophie trailed closely behind as we ventured toward the hunting blind. With each step, her boots whispered against the carpet of fallen leaves, a gentle sound that barely disturbed the tranquil hush of the surroundings. I cast a few glances over my shoulder, checking that she was right there with me, yet she appeared more than able to hold her own. Her resolve shone brightly upon her features. It was hard not to be impressed by her swift adaptability, even as I made an effort to keep my mind focused. As we arrived at the blind, I paused and faced her. "This is it," I proclaimed, my hand sweeping toward the quaint little structure hidden among the trees. "While it may not be extravagant, it certainly fulfills its purpose." Sophie nodded, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "It's simply exquisite." With a gentle push, I ascended the modest ladder and entered, keeping the door ajar for her to follow. She trailed behind, her essence enveloping the cozy nook as she settled onto the bench next to me. The cabin was snug, perfectly sized for two, with a handful of small windows framing the view of the clearing beyond. As dawn broke, a gentle golden hue spread across the landscape, illuminating the trees in a soft embrace. Though I had witnessed it many times before, this morning brought a fresh perspective that stirred something within me. I passed Sophie her rifle, my voice barely above a whisper. "Always prioritize safety, ensure the barrel is directed away, and refrain from loading until the moment you're prepared to take aim." With a solemn nod, she conveyed the weight of her thoughts. "Understood." I settled against the wall, observing her as she shifted her stance. With each movement, she exuded intention and concentration. For a time, we lingered in quietude, the rhythm of our breaths, the sole melody in the confined space. The atmosphere surrounding us was thick, charged not only with the excitement of the chase, but also with an unspoken tension that lingered in the air. I endeavored to concentrate on the clearing that lay before me, searching for any hint of movement, yet my mind continually wandered back to Sophie. As she settled next to me, her knee gently grazed my own, a subtle connection in the quiet moment we shared. As I cast my gaze in her direction, I noticed her focus was unwavering, completely absorbed in the scene unfolding in the field. I reassured myself it was merely a trivial mishap, yet that slight brush ignited a spark within me. I tightened my jaw, determined to maintain my concentration. Eventually, Sophie found her voice and shattered the stillness. "Out here, it's a realm of tranquility," she murmured, her voice a gentle caress. I gave a knowing nod. "Ah, that's a tale of affection right there. Only you, the whispering trees, and the serene stillness." Her smile danced across her lips, and for a fleeting moment, our eyes locked, only for her gaze to drift away like a whisper in the wind. "I appreciate you for bringing me along on this journey. I understand it may not have been your top pick, but it truly holds great significance." In that moment, I found myself pausing, caught in a web of uncertainty about how to reply. At last, I declared, "It's no trouble at all. Each person should have the chance to encounter this at least once in their lifetime." As the minutes unfolded, the tension in the air thickened, each moment stretching into the next like a taut string ready to snap. I made an effort to brush it aside, concentrating on the mission before me. Suddenly, from the periphery of my vision, I noticed a flicker of motion. I gave Sophie a gentle nudge, directing her gaze toward the clearing ahead. "There," I softly murmured, by the edge of the trees. With a steady hand, she lifted her rifle, keenly attuned to my guidance. In a serene clearing, a young buck emerged, its antlers modest yet distinct against the backdrop of nature. With a careful gait, it advanced, its head gently swaying as it took in the sense of the world around it. "Hold on until it presents itself fully," I whispered, my words barely breaking the silence. "Picture this. You're aiming for that perfect moment right behind the shoulder where everything aligns just right." With a firm nod, she steadied her hands, carefully aligning the shot. In that fleeting instant, time appeared to pause. The forest stood silent, the deer frozen in grace, and my breath hung in the air. And then the rifle let out a sharp click. A wave of dread washed over me as the truth dawned upon me. "No round chambered?" I inquired softly. With a furrowed brow, Sophie wrestled with the lever to load the gun, yet time had slipped away from her grasp. With a sudden burst of energy, the buck dashed away, vanishing into the dense underbrush. With a heavy heart, she exhaled in frustration, allowing the rifle to drop from her grasp. "I believed it was prepared," she remarked. Her voice carried a hint of disappointment. "It's all right," I replied, attempting to offer comfort. "Such is life. Another opportunity awaits you." She reclined, her head gently cradled by the wall behind her. "I feel quite foolish." I said, "You are not. Engaging in the art of hunting requires dedication and skill development. You'll find your rhythm soon enough." As the moments passed, the atmosphere in the blind transformed, with the early thrill slowly yielding to a subtle sense of irritation. Sophie shed her jacket with a soft sigh, grumbling about the warmth enveloping her. I endeavored to concentrate on the clearing, yet my mind continually drifted back to her. Her movements, her words, they were weaving a spell that was increasingly difficult to overlook. As she sat beside me, shedding her thermal layers one by one, it dawned on me that the warmth of the morning was more than just the sun rising outside. The atmosphere was growing increasingly intense, and I found myself questioning how much longer I could maintain my concentration. The air within the blind enveloped me in warmth, a gentle embrace that felt almost stifling as the morning sun ascended higher in the sky. Sophie had cast aside her jacket, now perched beside me in nothing but her undershirt and camouflage pants. As I concentrated on the clearing, my eyes swept the tree line, searching for any hint of movement. Yet the tension in that confined space grew heavier, almost palpable, making it hard to dismiss. My heart raced within me, though I couldn't quite tell if it was the thrill of possibly seeing a deer or the way Sophie moved next to me, her every motion capturing my gaze. "Do you often find yourself sitting out here for hours on end like this?" With a gentle nudge, she pierced the stillness that enveloped them. "Essentially," I responded, my gaze fixed ahead. With a deep sigh, she leaned back against the wall, reflecting on how patience weaves itself into the very fabric of hunting. With a soft chuckle, I admitted my lack of patience. It's a lesson that unfolds gradually, revealing its wisdom as the days pass. Out here, one learns the art of slowing down, embracing stillness. She cast a fleeting look my way, a subtle smile dancing on her lips. "Your ability to remain still is quite remarkable. It brings a sense of calmness to the atmosphere." Unsure of how to reply, I simply nodded, attempting to brush aside the peculiar warmth her words ignited within me. She shifted once more, this time peeling away her thermal top, revealing a snug-fitting tank that embraced her form in a way that captured my attention. My throat was parched, and I urged myself to avert my gaze, yet it was akin to attempting to disregard the sun's relentless glare. "Ah, that's much better," she exclaimed, letting out a breath as she leaned forward, her body unfurling in a graceful stretch. "The air feels heavy and thick in this space. Indeed, the air will become crisp as the sun sinks below the horizon," I murmured, battling to maintain my attention on anything other than her presence. The silence lingered, the atmosphere thickening with every fleeting moment. Sophie appeared to be lost in her own world, or perhaps she was fully aware. She reclined, allowing her head to find solace against the wall, her eyes gently drifting shut. The graceful arc of her neck, the gentle rise and fall of her chest with every breath, it drove him to distraction. I tightened my jaw, my fingers wrapping around the rifle with a fierce determination, as if that alone could bring me the steadiness I sought. Have you ever felt a sense of solitude in this place? She inquired unexpectedly, her tone gentle. In a moment of surprise, I found myself blinking, taken aback. There are moments, I confessed, yet they weave into the fabric of the journey. In solitude, one finds clarity for the mind. As she opened her eyes, she turned to me, her gaze unwavering and full of intent. In the depths of solitude, I find my mind teetering on the edge of madness. With a casual shrug, I remarked, "It's not for everyone." For a brief moment, she fell silent, her gaze resting on me in a manner that sent my heart racing. Then she smiled, a playful spark dancing in her eyes. "Ah, but this time, you have my presence to keep you company." A nervous chuckle escaped my lips as uncertainty loomed over the unfolding path ahead. "Indeed, it seems I do." With a glimmer in her eyes, she leaned in just a touch, her voice softening to a secretive hush. "Would it be too much trouble for you?" As I felt a constriction in my throat, I instinctively shook my head in response. "Absolutely not." The distance that separated us seemed to shrink, the air thick with an almost palpable tension. As she extended her hand, her fingertips lightly grazed my arm. It was a gentle caress, yet it sparked a surge within me. I faced her, poised to utter a thought, a whisper, anything to shatter the silence, yet the words remained trapped within me. "I appreciate you taking me out here," she murmured, her voice gentle. "Though her absence is felt deeply, it warms my heart to share this moment with you." I took a deep breath, giving a solemn nod. "There's nothing to worry about. It brings me joy to know you're here as well." The words carried a weight that seemed disproportionate, filled with significance I struggled to decipher. Sophie smiled once more, her eyes holding mine for a moment longer before she shifted her attention back to the clearing. I endeavored to mirror her actions, striving to direct my focus beyond myself, yet the boundary that separated us had already started to fade. The line I had vowed to uphold was beginning to fade, and doubt crept in about my ability to hold it steady. The sun was sinking, draping the treetops in a warm golden glow, yet my mind wandered far from the enchanting beauty of the forest. Sophie stood beside me, her presence drawing me in like a powerful force, each of her movements captivating my gaze despite my efforts to look away. We lingered in quiet anticipation, eyes peeled for the next glimpse of a deer, yet the true suspense lay not among the trees. It was hidden from view. She moved closer, her skin lightly grazing against my own. The encounter was fleeting, almost pure, yet it sparked a thrill within me that I couldn't dismiss. With determination, I steadied my hold on the rifle, urging myself to focus on the mission before me. With a gentle voice, she broke the stillness, her words laced with regret. "I'm sorry about missing that shot earlier," she murmured. "It happens," I said, my voice carrying a rough edge I hadn't meant to show. "At times, we all find ourselves missing the mark." She faced me, her look sincere and full of intent. "Do you believe there will be another opportunity for me?" As our eyes locked, time seemed to stretch, and the world around us faded into the background. "Perhaps." Ah, the deer, those enigmatic creatures of the wild, they dance through the forest with a grace that can catch anyone off guard. One must always be prepared, for their movements can shift like the wind, leaving us in awe of their unpredictability. With a gentle nod, her lips formed a subtle smile, hinting at a story untold. "I appreciate your understanding and patience with me." This journey took me by surprise with its intensity. The way she uttered the word intense sent a thrill through my heart, causing it to skip a beat. I averted my gaze, feigning interest in the expanse of the clearing. Every moment weaves into the tapestry of the journey. Once more, silence enveloped the scene, yet it lacked the tranquility one might hope for. The atmosphere crackled, heavy with the weight of words left unsaid. Sophie leaned forward once more, her fingers deftly working to adjust her boot. As she shifted, her hair cascaded over her shoulder, gently grazing my arm. The warmth of her skin enveloped me, while the delicate aroma of her shampoo danced softly in the air around us. I attempted to convince myself it was all in my head, just a figment of my imagination. Yet then she turned to me, her gaze probing into my very soul. "You've been quiet," she remarked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What tales are swirling in your thoughts?" In that moment, I found myself pausing, caught in a web of uncertainty about how to respond. Simply watching for the graceful presence of deer. Her smile blossomed, yet a glimmer of understanding danced in her eyes. "Ah, you have a knack for deception, don't you? It's almost charming in its own way." A soft chuckle escaped my lips as I shook my head, a hint of unease dancing in the air. "I assure you, I'm speaking the truth." She leaned in closer, her voice softening to a near whisper, as if sharing a secret meant only for the two of them. "Your mind wanders. I sense it in the air." I stood still, my heart racing wildly within me. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Sophie. Her hand found its way to my arm, a gentle yet purposeful touch that lingered in the air between us. "No need for words," she whispered softly. I sense it as well. My breath hitched in my throat. This was a moment that defied reality, a scene woven from dreams, yet the gaze she held and the gentle caress of her hand made it undeniable. The wall I had fought so hard to uphold was beginning to fall apart, and deep down, a part of me was reluctant to intervene. I averted my gaze, seeking to collect my scattered thoughts. "This isn't right," I murmured, my voice barely rising above a whisper. "Perhaps," she responded, her voice gentle, yet it doesn't seem amiss. Her words lingered, daring me to reconsider all that I believed about my own identity. I found myself wanting to argue, to create distance between us, yet deep down I knew that was the last thing I truly desired. After a long stretch of time, a flicker of emotion ignited within me, a sensation I hadn't even known was absent. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Sophie. I started to speak, but she quieted me with a soft caress on my cheek. "It's all right," she murmured softly. In the stillness of that moment, with the final whispers of sunlight brushing the horizon in hues of orange and pink, a decision took root within me. It was not a choice made with intention, but an instinctive yielding to the magnetic force that drew us together. I drew closer, bridging the gap, and in that moment, I allowed all barriers to dissolve entirely. As her lips brushed against mine, the outside world faded away, leaving only us in that suspended moment. The chill of the air, the stillness of the forest, and the mere hint of deer all slipped away, becoming mere whispers in the distance. Her kiss began with a gentle uncertainty, as if she were gauging my reaction, poised for me to pull away, yet I remained still, unable to resist. Instead, I discovered myself surrendering to the moment, my hands naturally gliding to her arms, then to her back, drawing her nearer. In an instant, guilt washed over me, overwhelming and swift like a sudden torrent. My wife's face danced in my thoughts, her trust and steadfast belief in me shining brightly. Yet Sophie's gentle sigh against my lips, her fingers tenderly brushing the back of my neck, made all reason fade away, lost in the embrace of the moment's warmth. "This is wrong," I whispered, parting our lips yet holding her near. Our foreheads touched gently and I could sense the warmth of her breath on my skin. "Perhaps," she murmured, her voice a whisper, "but does it seem amiss?" Silence enveloped my response. How might one go about it? Indeed, she was correct. It felt entirely as it should. It was a thrilling moment, as if an unseen door had swung wide, pouring forth a cascade of sensations long forgotten. A fragment of my being yearned to slam that door shut, to retreat to the sanctuary of my meticulously crafted existence. Yet, another fragment, the one that had long been dormant, craved to discover what awaited beyond that threshold. She leaned back just a bit, her eyes probing into mine. "If you wish for me to cease, speak up now," she declared, her voice carrying a weight of sincerity. "But if you choose not to," she let her words linger, placing the decision squarely upon my shoulders. I gazed at her, my heart racing with such intensity that I felt certain she could sense its rhythm. Her eyes were devoid of malice or manipulation, revealing an unspoken vulnerability that reflected my own. In that fleeting instant, time seemed to hold its breath, and I understood that my choice would seal my fate, leaving no room for retreat. "I don't want you to stop," I heard myself say, my voice barely more than a whisper. With a gentle smile gracing her lips, she leaned in once more, her hands tenderly cradling my face. This time, the kiss was bold and certain. It was profound, intentional, and brimming with a fervor that sparked a flame within me I believed had long been snuffed out. My hands gently embraced her waist, drawing her nearer until every inch of space vanished between us. We lingered in that moment, time stretching endlessly, the outside world fading into a mere whisper of the past. Each touch, each softly spoken word, each fleeting glance crackled with an undeniable energy laden with the awareness that we were stepping over a threshold that could never be undone. Yet, in that fleeting instant, my concerns faded away. After so many years, a spark ignited within me. I felt truly seen, desired, and vibrantly alive. As the chill crept in, it wrapped around us like a whisper, and I felt her shiver against my side. With a heavy heart, I drew back, my hands lingering on her hips as if they were reluctant to let go. "We should head back," I said, my voice thick with feeling. She nodded, yet she lingered, hesitant to take the next step. Instead, she nestled her head against my shoulder, her arms encircling me in a manner that was both soothing and protective. "I wish this moment could last forever," she whispered softly. "It needn't be so," I responded, the words escaping my lips before I could rein them in. Their significance hung heavy in the air, yet I felt no remorse for them. Not just yet. In the stillness of the room, we adorned ourselves, the air thick with an unspoken tension that seemed to pulse around us. As we journeyed back to the cabin, my eyes couldn't resist the urge to wander towards her. The way her hair danced in the waning sunlight, the gentle curve of her smile when our eyes met. The guilt lingered, a shadow in the recesses of my thoughts, yet it couldn't dim the glow that had blossomed within my heart. In the cozy embrace of the cabin, with the fire's warm glow flickering and casting playful shadows upon the walls, she sat opposite me, her eyes fixed and enigmatic. "Ah, but this transforms the very fabric of our reality. Wouldn't you agree?" She inquired gently. I gave a knowing nod. "Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story." Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and leave your comments because it is very important for the development of the channel and gives you ideas to continue collecting stories and sharing the next stories. Wishing you always joy and happiness. See you again in the next video. Goodbye.